Week 5, episode 5. Welcome back, Game Recognized Game Podcast. We got the whole crew tonight. Justice, Tausifur, CJ. You see CJ had to come and copy me with the white hat, but it's cool. It's cool, I'm just out here trend setting. That's what I do.
I think me and CJ can both attest to the fact that you the one that be jumping on the trains, bro.
Yeah,
He's the one
all
that
of
be
a sudden,
jumping on.
Justice is the only dude who
Yeah.
wears white hat. Justice is the
Mhm.
only dude who wears white hats. Everybody.
All of a sudden, he starts wearing chains, right? When I start wearing chains, huh?
I'm not gonna lie, you put me on the chain gang, all right? I'm not gonna
Hey,
lie.
it's cool, man. Daddy does what he can, no?
Okay, all right. See, and that's where you cross the line, nigga. See, I'm gonna bleep that out now, but
Happy
there's
Father's
some kind
Day.
of respect in our community, right, CJ?
Hey, man, I respect.
man.
I'm in your life, right?
Someone give you that nod like that, give you that label when you ain't really about the culture.
Yeah. Ask your mom if I'm about to cool.
Okay. But cool, man. We're back at it again. About to get into some interesting topics this week. But yeah, last week was really cool. We got into some really interesting Patreon topics. So again, we're gonna try to keep it as PG as possible here on the YouTube. But we got some more heat coming on the Patreon again. So you guys are up.
Especially this week. Yeah.
You guys want that smoke? You guys really want to see what's behind the scenes? Got to jump on the Patreon. But this week, there's a lot of randomness going on this week. It's been kind of crazy. I don't know. What do you guys want to jump into first? Anything top of mind for you guys?
Yeah, I can lead the way.
Well, I think we should start off the show and just kind of give a shout out to my man Chadwick Boseman. Apparently he passed away yesterday. 43 from colon cancer. Kind of unexpected. I didn't even know he was sick. And this is apparently a 4-year, battle and struggle that he's been going on with. And I forgot who posted this online, but one of the female celebrities, and she was saying like, this guy gave us Avengers Endgame, Infinity, Black Panther, and a couple other movies, all in that 4-year span where he was apparently sick. So shout out to that guy. Prayers to his family.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody said.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Go ahead.
No, I mean, I don't care what anybody says. Black Panther may be probably going to be the greatest black movie of all time, in my opinion. Because hear me out here. Hear me out here.
Hold up. Now, first off, before I get what you about to go, Toss?
I mean, I'm just trying to think if that's a true statement, but I'm gonna say
that's what I'm getting into. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm getting into. Like, first off, let me start by saying rest in peace, Chadwick. I was surprised too last night when I heard what happened. Total shocker. Just randomly looked at my phone. Chadwick dies from colon cancer. I'm like, what? Checking everywhere. It's official. So let's get that out first. Like you were saying, Justice, everyone was saying yesterday, obviously he's had a big impact in the lives of not only just kids, but black kids, the black community. Because I do remember that one year, it was more than a couple months, so I'm gonna say a year, that he Black Panther was everywhere. That was you're talking Marvel, you're talking about Black Panther, everybody got the mask. You got Victor Oladipo at the slam dunk contest, put on the mask, for the dunk contest. Everybody's just talking about Black Panther. So, yeah, I agree with you that it may be the biggest Marvel movie, standalone, character other than Avengers, but not Black movie. There were a lot of people reaching, and I get it. When people go, we got to pay our respects. That makes sense. But some people like to overdo it sometimes. And I understand you want to, tell them, oh, you were amazing. But let's not get too far carried away. People were like, oh, he was a great, they were trying to say he was better than Denzel. and stuff like that. Now I'm like, okay, hey, I understand what you guys are trying to say. You know, the guy's passed away. Let's pay our respects. But hey, let's not reach. Let's not overreach here. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
that's like
Now we
well,
that recency
the thing
bias.
that I would
yeah.
ask you, the thing that I would
LeBron
ask
wins the
you is,
championship or something, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's the greatest player of all time," and just totally forget about Michael Jordan or Kobe or someone else.
well, it's debatable,
Yeah,
man.
not
Let's get
saying,
into
but
that some other time. But this is what I would say though. Like, CJ, I would ask you, in recent history, can you think of another movie like
no,
Black Panther that's been
no.
so as empowering of a movie as Black Panther has been in recent
No,
history? So that's why,
no.
Chadwick's been like kind of like the hallmark dude. And it's crazy, like what Justice was saying in the past few years. Like he's just been reeling out movies, just coming out with a bunch of like high
He
profile
had the
shit.
third Marshall, and he had
42, Jackie
Jackie
Robinson.
Robinson, had what was the other James Brown movie,
Yeah.
the Bloods movie recently on Netflix.
He was just that guy.
Yeah,
He was just the guy that would
yeah.
get a lot of those high profile, like, black characters. So that's why it's I mean, it seems like it's a really heavy loss, especially this year's been crazy, man. First starting off losing the Black Mamba, then you lose the Black Panther. So
That's tough, but yeah, I mean, going back to my previous statement, Black Panther probably going down as greatest black movie of all time.
I
And
mean, it's the only Marvel movie that's won Oscars,
I
I
mean, I'll
believe.
say it's my favorite Marvel movie of all time.
so yeah, but so I guess it's tough to say that without actually like saying, okay, what's the grading scale, right? Like, how are you judging movies? So everyone's going to be a little bit
Storyline,
subjective.
soundtrack, character
I mean,
development.
obviously, people are gonna also use like, because when someone passes, like I said, we kind of like to, especially if you pass in a good way. Like and again, the reason people are like comparing him to Denzel is because this guy was a great actor. Like you never heard anything about him, never heard any drama, no nothing in the tabloids about him. Good black man, good example, good role model for the kids. So that's why you don't hear people talk down on his name. It's always praise. They're gonna say the best things they can say about him, and that's good. You always want that. You'd rather have that than you pass away and people are like, man, that dude, he was a bad dude. And they're talking down on your name when you're gone. So we'll give them that. But the thing people are also going to do, they're going to use that to be like, oh, well, because he passed, we're going to kind of give him that, like, oh, he had the best. It adds on to that legacy. You get what I'm trying to say?
I
Yeah.
know.
Kind of like the whole, and of course we always go back to sports, but kind of like the whole Kobe and Jordan. There's some people who, after Kobe passed, just because Kobe passed away, it was kind of like I don't know, it gives off that type of like feel like, oh, this guy's like, he's gone. So that makes him like a legend, like a myth. So they kind of put him over Jordan just because of that. Like there are some people who put Kobe over Jordan just because of that. So
I
I
mean,
feel like that's also the thing with Chadwick.
you
Like when
can't
people
you
pass, they
can't
kind of give them that like
you can't
mystical,
compare
legendary.
those two though.
That's but that's just how it is with when people
Yeah,
pass.
I understand that. I understand what you're saying, but and so it's always going to be subjective. There's never going to be a clear like person because it's so subjective. The errors are different. What's the scale that you're using to grade the two different performances or whatever? But taking a lot of that subjectivity out of it, I'm just saying, looking at all the different black movies out there and saying, okay, you have, first of all, Black Panther. None of us really, you can say, okay, you're a Marvel fan or whatever. Nobody really knew Black Panther like that. No kids were like, oh, I want to be Black Panther, like it was all about Spider-Man, all about Batman. I don't even, so the character came out of nowhere. So that's number one. Then number two, you have a movie with like predominantly black cast, predominantly black director, predominantly black soundtrack. And then it bridges, the movie is all about bridging the gaps between the two different sides of black culture. The side of black culture that's predominantly shown in movies, or it's more like that street culture, And then also that more so like the African side of Black culture, where it's like um, more about
Yeah,
being
the native.
intelligent and smart and kind of uh, more more education based in a sense, and kind of merging the two. So it's not like one shitting on the other, but they're kind of showing like, oh, this is our both sides of our culture, and here's how they kind of fit together. That's the only movie I've ever seen do that. Any other movie you can think of right now and be like, oh, this is a good Black movie, this is a good Black movie. It does one or the other. It's very rare that you just see a movie just, okay, all sides of our culture, Black Americans and Africans, people who are a little bit more academically inclined and people who are a little bit more, musically inclined and more like entertainment focused. They're all sort of combining together and appreciating each other and kind of sort of living in harmony in a sense. Only movie that I've ever seen do that, probably the only movie that will ever do that. And that's why I'm like, this is probably the best Black movie because it encapsulates all of Black culture in one movie and highlights all the positive aspects of the culture as well, without any sort of negative stereotypes or any weird stuff. And then on top of that, it's a superhero movie, and then the only superhero movie who has the Oscar, like you just said. So I'm like, I'm looking at all these different things. I'm like, I gotta give it to him. And then you have Michael B. Jordan in the movie too. Like you have all the hitters.
There's a lot of points there.
Name one movie right now that you're thinking of, like, oh, this one challenges it. Go.
I'll say this in terms of like recently most influential. Everything you just said, I mean, it stands true. Yeah, it's definitely been the most in recent memory the most empowering Black movie.
Yeah.
That
if personally for you, it's the best, you think it's the best Black people movie overall, like that's cool. There's a lot of points that I can get into to counter that, to where it's kind of like
give me one movie you're like, okay, I think this one kind of rises.
Yeah, we're not trying to. It was a good movie. We're not saying, but it wasn't the best. I mean, so are you saying Black Panther was the best Marvel movie in your opinion? It's like the best superhero movie then?
Black.
No, Justice.
Best Black movie.
So is that the best? So it's not the best superhero movie. You're just saying it's the best Black movie.
Superhero movie is tough. I mean, I probably grade it a little differently because like you can't compete against like, Infinity War and shit. Like it's like a 3-hour.
I guess. So again, you can keep that. Again, you're comparing a Black superhero movie to regular Black movies. So obviously, someone like you and me, who like superhero fantasy type shit, we're gonna like that. There's other people who are gonna be like, Black superheroes? No, we just want a regular movie. You feel me? So. I mean, it can go different ways. I wouldn't say it's the best. I wouldn't say it's the best Black film movie. I'd say it's the most influential in the past decade, like Taus was saying. But I wouldn't say it's like the best.
Dude, I'm telling you, anybody listening to this,
you gotta understand. You have to understand it's
better than Coach Carter, better than Remember the Titans.
Whoa, hey, no. See, now you're bringing out the good ones.
What,
Coach
bro?
Carter? Nah.
What, bro? Better than Training Day? What other movie do you want to put up there? Like,
see, you want to talk about people bringing it? See,
hey man, look, man. Let's be respectful. Justice, you said Training Day, so
Training Day. Hey, this nigga Justice be disrespectful as hell, bro.
Let's be careful. And I know Justice is the type of person that lives in the moment.
Justice, you have to understand everything you were saying, right? It's a superhero movie. Who made the movie? Marvel. Who's Marvel? Disney. They have to make a movie that appeals to everybody. You're not going to see any, oh, this is kind of stereotypical, because it's Disney. When does Disney ever, you never see, oh, Disney's in trouble because of, it's a Disney movie. You have to understand, it's a Disney movie. It's made to attract everybody. They're going to put the biggest stars in it. All the superhero movies, don't they always have the biggest stars? Who's the main dude? Oh, this big star is going to be your next Spider-Man. That's how it is. So you can't be like, oh, because you're comparing it to other Black people movies. All these other Black people movies, they didn't have the same hype. Like, it wasn't hyped up like Disney. Disney's putting out this movie. This is a Disney Black people movie, not no regular Tyler Perry nigga movie.
Yeah,
bro, that Disney princess movie that they came out with, trash. All right.
The what? The princess movie?
Yeah, the Black princess they came out with.
Yeah, but that's a cartoon.
I'm just saying.
Justice, we're talking about.
That was Disney though.
Oh,
They
you
didn't
talking
give us
about
that quality.
all black movies? You talking about Get Out as well?
Yes, bro. Yes.
Us?
Yes.
Talking about us? You talking
Yes.
about those? Come on, you talking about those Jordan Peele movies?
Yes.
Come on, man.
Yes.
Come on,
As
man.
influential as it's cool.
It
Man.
was the most influential.
Right now.
It was the most influential movie in the last
Dude, let me
decade.
remind you guys. You guys
I'll
must have
say.
forgot. You guys must have forgot. People were coming out.
The only movie as hot as Black Panther I can think of that made like a wave was like maybe like Harry Potter, High School Musical, like us coming up. Like that's the only. There are no black movies that were like that.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what
High School Musical was hot when it came out. Like I'm talking about like franchise, like they're selling like outfits, like Halloween. You see everyone wearing their clothes. Like only people I saw that with was Harry Potter, High School Musical. I can't really think of any other.
Dude,
like,
every black man was Black Panther
franchise.
Like that whole.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like it was influential for sure.
Here's what I'm saying though. Like Black Panther, it's very few movies where people are walking out of the movie and being like, "Wow, like I'm proud of this movie." Like blah 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 blah. Like the movie wasn't. I don't think you remember. The movie was really impactful. Like dudes were coming out of the movie being like. Most people come out of the movie. Every movie you just mentioned, people come out of the movie and be like, "Yeah, it was a cool movie. Oh, it's cool. Hey, remember this?"
I'm gonna say this too. Talk. Give me your honest opinion. Was Black Panther like a good movie, like from start to finish? Was it like amazing throughout? Was it like an amazing movie, or was it just like another superhero movie? Was it above average? Like what was it?
It was definitely above average. Because I went into
average.
the movie thinking like it's gonna be another type of prototypical Marvel movie, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But it had extra layers to it, like the dimensions, the message to it, like the kind of like the perspective between what's his name, Killmonger, like his background.
It didn't make it seem like he was.
Yeah, because you got a character that's coming out of like a situation where he didn't have all the privileges that T'Challa.
Okay, so you liked it more. You liked it more because there was a backstory. Obviously, for us being people of color, we can relate kind of more to the story than other Captain America.
The fact that it had a lot more layers to it. The story was more deeper than I would have expected. There's more representation. There's more detail to the characters it was just more than what I had anticipated. That's why I fucked with
Also though, like Justice said earlier, Black Panther, you didn't really know too much about him from before. So did it not help that you didn't know too much about Black Panther, so you're not expecting it to be a certain way, he's supposed to do this?
The element of surprise played a big factor to it. But it's the same thing that I could say about a movie like Get Out or a movie like Us, because Jordan.
I get you then. I get what you're saying.
No, because when Get Out first came out, we'd never seen this dude really do.
Yeah, but nobody expected it to be a horror movie because they thought.
No, let's not compare it to the. No, let's stop comparing it to other Black people movies. I just want to know. No. Yeah, I just want to know, like, compared to other Marvel movies, to see, like, okay, what makes it like that? Because I'm the type of person, I don't want to be like, oh, Black Panther was super good just because it's an all black cast. Like, I want to know, like, okay, was it actually good? Are you just saying that because Wakanda Forever? Or are you saying that because, you really fuck with the movie? But
I mean, even the villain was interesting too, man. Like, what's that dude? The South African guy. Yeah, and there's
he was cool. Yeah, you don't see villains like that usually. Yeah.
There was a good mix between like comedic levity, and then also
you
know what I mean? Like there was a scene in that movie where the dude was like, what do you say? They were in like a casino or something, and they're like, what are you doing? You coming out with a mixtape? He's like, oh yeah, I actually got a copy right here. I get it. I was like, dude, this is an asshole. Like it's hilarious. It's funny. But yeah. As far as like talking about influential movies in recent memory, Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther specifically, it's had a huge impact. It's like one of those generational movies that we'll be thinking about for a long time. So he's always going to be synonymous with that. Respect,
Yeah, I think that's good on that one. Probably just gonna go down the list here. I think the next one is interesting. Is going to be obviously the NBA. We had that big boycott that happened during this week. I thought it was interesting when I first heard about it. First of all, it was a little late because of the Bucks. Because apparently, obviously, was it Jacob Blake? He got shot on Monday, and the Bucks.
I think it was Sunday, right? The 23rd?
Yeah, maybe it was Sunday. But the Bucks tried to cancel their game on Thursday because I know the Lakers played on Tuesday. So I think that was Kobe's.
I think the Bucks canceled it. They couldn't cancel it on Monday because it was. I think the games are already set up and whatever because it was already the next day. So they decided to do it on Wednesday. I think was when they had canceled it, right? Wednesday, and they resumed it today, I believe.
Yeah. Well, so the Bucks, maybe they already, I don't know what happened with the Bucks, but maybe they just needed some, because they're in the bubble too, so I imagine they're not really paying attention that much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was the next day, so it was already too late to cancel.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then because it was the Bucks too, the Bucks that's their home state. So, because I know like LeBron, Mamba Day, we watching the Lakers play on Mamba Day. But then obviously when the Bucks play, they're like, oh, we should make a statement. We can't just let this happen in our own state. So,
I mean, there was a day that went by. The thing is, like, the same BS happens, and in the Bucks situation, there was like a time period where they're anticipating some sort of action being taken out, disciplinary action being taken out for the officer involved. They did the same crap, paid administrative leave, whatever the hell that is. It just looked like the same cyclical like crap was gonna happen, and then game day was approaching. They saw the same thing was gonna happen, and they ended up reacting the way that they did. Especially with like Sterling Brown and George Hill. They were both already heavily against coming to the bubble. Sterling Brown already had a history with Milwaukee PD of, racial profiling and stuff. So
Right. So you're saying that once it was clear that, the police department or the government wasn't going to take the necessary action to really give these guys their appropriate consequences, that's when the Bucks are like, all right, well, we're going to.
Yeah. It's not just that either. It's just like, it's overwhelming because it's a blatant, it's on tape. Blatant. Dude's walking away and they pump 7 bullets into him. Keep in mind, George Floyd passed away not even, a month ago, So taking that all into consideration, as well as like the fact that they were even debating even continuing the season or continuing to play basketball during these times, and he still did it. And this same crap still happened. So all that.
What do you think about the boycott, man, in general? Like, obviously, all the teams walking out, they're threatening to cancel the league. Now, I'm not sure how much you guys watch the TV, but there's a lot of, a lot of red tape around just canceling, right? So you cancel the season, you pretty much cancel your collective bargaining agreement. So therefore,
yeah, exactly. There was more.
Yeah, a lot of people lose a lot of money. And also, you give up your platform. So right now, you don't have the ability to really talk and kind of get your message out and sort of control the narrative that you would if everyone just goes home.
Well, there's a certain message that they did pass on just by boycotting that one day to kind of show, like, this is the influence that the players have in the NBA. You can't really see that same type of power that players would have in the NFL or the MLB. The same amount of, Black players aren't necessarily, representing those types of leagues. Maybe the NFL, but the NFL is all types of messed up. You know what I mean? The owners are just
Yeah.
The owners are,
To that
are
point.
backwards.
Yeah, to that point, actually, I had a topic I wanted to bring up. Basically, I think it's safe to say the NBA basketball is now America's sport. Like, people could be scared to see it or admit it, like the dudes who like baseball and shit, but basketball is now like America's, like it has the most influence on pop culture. The players have the most influence on pop culture. Like, I can't even name 10 dudes from baseball.
I mean,
Like,
it's been America's sport.
Yeah, but now it's just all the social issues, all the political issues, like everything. Like there's like the NBA is always involved. They're always, trying to help out, see what they can do.
So you're saying
every other league follows. Like with the boycott. Once the NBA was said, hey, we're gonna boycott, every other league follows. Every other league starts to say something. Like at this point, it's like, okay, well, whenever there's an issue, the NBA is always first to do something. Adam Silver is always first to say, you know what, let's listen to the players. Obviously, they're the ones bringing in the money. Let's see what they have to say. And we can respect that. As men, when you go to work, if you are in a position where you have to work for someone else, we don't always want to work for someone else, but when you're in that position and you do a damn good job at what you do, you want to have the respect, like, yo, I bring in money. I do my job well. I think I deserve a say in how, the atmosphere should be in my workplace. So I can respect that. And you're starting to see like the NBA starting to, be that pioneer and like athletes being able to speak up for themselves, not having their owners or whatever, what they call them now, their team, whatever the hell, presidents or whatever, controlling them, telling them what to do. Oh, you can't say that. And now you see dudes in the NFL, they're like, man, I want to be like the dudes in the NBA, get to say what I want to say, and they can't do that. So, shout out to dudes in the NBA's, using their voice, using their platform to, help out. Shout out Kyrie Irving, too. Dudes was drawing his name through the dirt before they all came to the bubble saying, oh, Kendrick Perkins all dissing them, saying, oh, Kyrie, shut up, man. You ain't doing nothing, blah, blah. Look, he was right. We're going to talk. We're going to say, oh, we need this and that. But if you're not doing anything, what's it really matter?
And why do we care what Perk has to say, man? Perk, bro. Who the hell is Perk out here talking like he's just a loud person, man? He's just a loud person saying a bunch of stuff. He's like another version of a Ryan Hollins, man. They put you in the middle. They put you in the starting lineup because they didn't have nobody else, man. Come on, bro. Out here with the big old chain on, this big old Cuban.
Aside from that, ESPN is literally trying to get a Stephen A. replacement for like when he's not there, like that same loud sort of character. It's just becoming super obvious now. Like he agrees with everything Stephen A. says. I'm just like, all right,
dude. CJ made a good point though about the NBA being at the forefront, because the other thing that you can kind of like, when you look at it, you could also tell like the NBA is probably the closest thing to the biggest international game amongst like the main American sports too.
Yeah, for sure.
So like the reach, the influence that it has, there's a lot more transparency that goes along with it just because they've got a bunch of different perspectives that are, influenced by the NBA. I mean, you go anywhere in the world, like even like back in the 90s, everybody knew who Michael Jordan was. Not everybody knows who Joe Montana is, Yeah. Everybody knows who Alex Rodriguez is.
Yeah, or even like Messi or Ronaldo in America.
Yeah.
Like, most Americans don't really know who those guys are. Like if you saw them on the street, like most people wouldn't really recognize them like that. You know what I mean?
I mean, just look at the impact of like when Kobe passed away. Like, did you notice like the impact? Like just worldwide.
That's the biggest impact I've ever seen. Like anybody die. Like the closest to that was Michael Jackson. Like when Michael Jackson passed, that was the first time like for weeks. Like I couldn't like I kept hearing like, oh, Michael Jackson passed. Like people crying like Michael Jackson. Like this Kobe one, like the Kobe one affected me. Like personally, like I was part of the people crying this time, but that Michael Jackson was the only time. Like I was like, damn.
Yeah. So, there's murals in the Philippines. There's murals in, different parts of Europe. Like the reach it's crazy. So for the NBA to take be at the forefront, in times like this, especially like with all these people, there's always going to be people that are talking crap and trying to sort of corrupt the whole issue, try to turn it into another like Kaepernick situation. Because notice when the whole Kaepernick situation happened with the NFL, people were so quick to just sort of criticize. And then the power of the owners in the NFL to blackball him, like they have the power to blackball somebody like Kaepernick because there's other quarterbacks out there that they can go ahead and replace him with. It's a replaceable league too. NFL, your career is not that long. You're going to be replaceable. NBA, you can't replace a LeBron James. You can't replace a Giannis. Those are it's a tougher, it's a tougher hurdle to get over for owners. Because a player's power within a franchise, within a league, it's a different thing. So
I think it's interesting. There's a lot of like Donald Trump came out and he said something interesting. He was like, "Oh, the NBA is becoming a political party. This is not good. Blah blah blah. Just play sports." And I thought that was it. But then other people were saying on the other side, they were saying like, "Oh, the players need to have more of a plan and they need to like know what they want and ask for." And you think about that and you're like, yeah, the NBA players do have a lot of power, but most of these guys are like 20 to 30. You know what I mean? Like they're pretty young guys, and most of them didn't really go to college. Like they went to college for 1 year, and then they've been playing NBA, like basketball all their lives.
You one of those dudes,
college
huh?
has nothing
One
to
of
do.
those dudes, huh?
No, let me finish. Like you're asking 20.
It's not about.
No, listen.
But before you finish though, it's not about college. They're not asking you.
Yeah.
They're not having questions about college math questions.
Yeah, let me finish.
It's about social justice. You don't have to go to college for that.
Yeah, but let me
Like
finish.
Jaylen Brown.
Let him finish.
Yeah, let me finish. Yeah, you're just cutting me off. Trying to some narrative that I'm not talking about. What I'm saying is, it's interesting that you're getting a lot of like guys who specialize in how to play basketball to come up with a social economic plan for the country. You know what I mean? It's like, so when LeBron James, some of the other guys are saying like, yeah, we're trying to understand the issues. We're trying to figure it out. Like we don't really know what the answer is. I believe them because I'm like, how the fuck is like Michael Jordan or Kobe going to come up with a good plan? Like, oh, this is the direction that we as a people should move into. Like, yeah, you can have your hunches. Like, oh, from a moral standpoint, this is what we should do. But like technically, a basketball player isn't the person who should be telling us, oh, this is the right way to do something or this is the wrong way to do something. So I thought it was interesting to see like the players are put in a really weird position where it's like Doc Rivers should just be a coach or he should just be like a player, but now they have to kind of take on this representation of us. And through all this stuff that's happening, I'm just like, yo, where's Biden at? Where's Kamala at? Where are the people who are actually supposed to be like pushing the stuff? I see LeBron James as like the spokesman of this whole movement when we actually have this guy who's going to vote for president, and this is his actual job, and he hasn't said anything. So
I'm gonna let CJ respond, and then I'll respond. Go ahead, CJ.
I think you're looking at it too too concrete. Like we're not expecting these NBA players to change, to make the changes themselves. We're not asking them to go into office. What they want to do is see how they can help, to see if there's anything within the NBA. Obviously, as players, as an association, they have a voice. They have a place where they can, let their voice be heard. They have money. Like they have a lot of things they can use to help the what's going on. So what they were able to do, like for one thing, I'm not sure if all of the teams, but majority of them are using their stadiums, arenas, as voting spots for people to go vote. That's something simple, and that's something they agreed on, and that's enough. I think there were a couple other things about some bills they were going to look at and stuff like that, but that's enough. They're not trying to go into the office and make new laws or whatever. They're just trying to put stuff in place to help at least, put stuff in motion. Having arenas as voting spots for people to go vote, that's a big step. Encouraging people go vote. That's letting people know, yo, we have this big arena. We didn't just do it for nothing. Go vote.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but what I heard on the news, a lot of what I heard on the news was like,
what news? Fox News?
No, I'm like ESPN, all these different pundits and shit were saying like, oh, the players need to be more organized. The players should do more of this. So they should use their power to do the X, Y, and Z.
Now,
and I'm like,
there was an issue.
Clear answer to what they should do. Like, there is no.
There was.
How are they supposed to know what exactly to do? Like, I agree with LeBron James. The owners who actually have more connections and stuff should be more involved in this stuff. Like, why are you like, kind of like putting LeBron and some of these other players in this weird predicament where they're the ones who are having to push these issues when you guys are the ones who actually have the real power to make real change?
You want me to answer that question? Because I do have an answer for that question.
Go ahead.
So why put LeBron James on that type of platform? What is an election at the end of the day? It's a popularity contest. It's not about who's the most qualified. I mean, we live in a topsy-turvy, world right now. Donald Trump is president. So, the prestige of that position is pretty much, it doesn't mean anything. Anybody could be president. If you were to tell me who I would vote for, who would be the most sensible person for president, if it were between LeBron James and Donald Trump, I'm choosing LeBron. Why do I say that? Okay, because you're kind of focusing on something where it's like, oh, well, this is your role. You're a basketball player. Like, what would you know about running a country? Well, Donald Trump is a billionaire who inherited who was an inheritant billionaire from what his father had built, but he was able to run it in his own way. Yeah, I get it. America's kind of like a business, and that's a type of rationale that you could run with, okay? But at the end of the day, when the election was going on, he was the more likable candidate who seemed more genuine than his counterpart, okay? So when they say, why put LeBron James at the forefront, and when they tell somebody, just focus on just playing a sport, just keep sports, just, just focus on shut up and dribble. Back in the day, I mean, like, that's just another form of silencing somebody, especially somebody in a position of power that has that type of reach, that has that type of influence. So if you've listened to the interviews that they've actually given, like some of the players just recently, Danny Green, George Hill, they're not proposing laws. They proposed a solution. All these black people getting killed by the police, all these people in general getting killed by the police. The police have the power of this systemic thing that goes on in the police system. It's called qualified immunity. It's called internal investigations. Those are things you can totally change. Those are things you can start with changing. Those are some of the suggestions that were put out there by a lot of the players. Makes sense. You take out internal investigations. Don't let the police investigate themselves. Makes no goddamn sense anyways. Somebody gets like incriminated by some crime, some falsified police report. There's so much weight on that police report that they themselves investigated, and now the person investigated. So if a police officer arrests you, and then it's in question of an unlawful arrest, they send it to internal investigations. Now that police officer's best friend is investigating what, the wrongdoing of this arrest. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Nothing. You're still going to go to jail. They're going to say, there was no type of, wrongful act by the officer. That's what typically happens.
Yeah.
So those suggestions, those are sensible suggestions, are they not? This isn't something.
No. You're getting me wrong though. So what you're saying makes sense. I totally agree with that part of it. But what I was saying was, it kind of seemed like the media was kind of saying like, putting the players in a position where they should have like a, I don't know, like a solution for the country. But I actually agree with LeBron James, where he's saying the owner should be more involved, because I'm like, they should. They have more power and more influence over.
And he put it out there. He put it out there, right? He put out.
Yeah.
Because he's LeBron James. He's the player. He's the.
People. He's an influencer, right? Like, people want to hear what he has to say. But when he says, the owner actually has more like knowledge and authority to kind of like make an actual impact.
It's not about knowledge, bro. It's more about influence. It's more about pull.
No, it's not, bro. No,
it is. Hear me out. LeBron James can point out the issue and use his platform to offer suggestions. He can suggest and say the owners, the billionaire owners, can get more involved by using their connections that they have with local government. Because at the end of the day, these billionaire owners, they're also contributing to the infrastructure of whatever city that they got their team in. Because their team is responsible for a lot of the revenue of that city.
Exactly. Yeah. Now you're talking.
So
I think what happened was LeBron was bringing up the wrong conversation with the wrong people. Like, that meeting that they had wasn't for like that type of boss talk. Like, we're a bunch of billionaires. Let's see what we can do. Let's put our money together. Let's see what we can, make a change. This was just like the league trying to discuss how they can help out, how they can continue the season, if that's a possibility, if they wanted to, just to see if there was something they could do for this situation and for situations to come to prevent it, or just to help the cause. It wasn't to like, oh, let's donate millions of dollars. It was just, what can we do? What they did, they came up with the voting, make the arrange the voting place. I think they did some other stuff with some bills. They're gonna now vote on some bills to be passed and stuff like that. That's good for now. Once they decided that, LeBron came up to talk about what you were talking about, Justice, which was the owners and why aren't we doing more stuff. That's when everyone was like, what the hell is this guy talking about? That's when everyone was like, man, LeBron's like tripping, like, fuck this dude. Like, that's when.
Let's be honest, man. They had that meeting to weigh the pros and the cons of continuing the season or not. That's all it was.
And LeBron was like, LeBron straight up was like, he was like, man, we can, like you said, Justice, he did want to do something, but his way was like, oh, I already got my rings. He was like, I'm trying to help the people.
No. Don't.
That's what he said. That's what he said, though.
Don't spin it like that, because you just said your boy Kyrie.
That's what he said.
Okay, but don't put Kyrie on this pedestal, and then when LeBron agrees with him and kind of edifies what he's saying, you're like, oh, well, LeBron.
He's only saying that. He's only saying that now. He's only saying that now because now there's an issue.
I mean,
LeBron.
You could also present this premise too, where it's like, hey, now I'm just being devil's advocate here, all right? And by devil's advocate, I'm talking about CJ. So you could also say, there's a slight chance that LeBron may not be able to win a title this season if he doesn't get another ring. But if he's responsible for social change and social justice, that might also be a ring. You know what I mean? That might also be the equivalent of a ring. Hey,
but all I'm saying is, don't come out at the end trying to be all like, oh yeah, look at me, I'm the king. When this shit's been going on, bro. All of a sudden you want to come out at the end of the meeting? I thought you were a leader. You're supposed to start the meeting off. I adjourned this meeting. When we start this meeting, 8:15, write that down. You're supposed to be that dude. You're supposed to come at the end like,
your boy Kyrie. Maybe he talked to your boy Kyrie.
He's out there doing his. He didn't come to the bubble. He said, I ain't even coming. I'm gonna do my work here.
Kyrie, what's your thoughts on this?
I'm gonna work from home. I don't need to fly out. You don't need to fly me out to Orlando. I'm gonna work from home.
Here,
I'm good.
Bro,
come on, man. You don't come at the end of the meeting. Oh, I need to take care of us. Who are you?
You talked to your boy Kyrie. He said, Kai, it's your big bro.
Nobody called him
That's
Kai.
all I'm saying. Why didn't Tuesday? Why didn't he stop the game? or whatever day, instead of
Mamba
waiting
Day.
for
Mamba Day.
instead of.
No, we just
I
talked
mean,
about
yeah,
that.
but
Seriously though, we just talked
hey,
about that. We said that they were waiting for the verdict on how the police were going to handle the situation. Once it was obvious they weren't going to handle it properly,
yeah, they could have boycotted then. That would have been big.
it was the
LeBron
Bucks.
James boycotts. That means it's bigger than, and people will respect that. Even Kobe, rest in peace to Kobe. If you said, "Hey, Kobe, people are doing blacks wrong," yeah, it's Mamba Day, but we might just have to cancel the game.
But here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
George Hill,
Black power.
Hill, and the other guy from the Bucks, they're the ones who started it. When they asked everybody, "Hey, who wants to start the season?"
Toronto started it. Toronto brought it up first. The Raptors brought it up first. Kyle Lowry, Van Fleet, them boys, they brought it up first.
Okay, fair enough.
And then
the Bucks,
they gave time. They gave time.
The first team.
So they brought it up first.
They
had time to boycott. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying.
What are you arguing? The Bucks were the ones who started it. It was in their home state. And then when people were saying, "Hey, do you guys want to play? You guys want to play?" The Bucks said, "We want to play." So now everybody was like, "What the bro? What was the whole point of the boycott? If you guys are just gonna, you see what I'm saying?"
They did.
Well, there was a point. I mean, there was a point to the boycott, though, man. Like we can't.
No. They were never gonna stop playing. Like we said earlier, they had an agreement. They weren't gonna stop playing. You think they were gonna mess that up and stop playing?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, no. But it was just a flex of power, dude. They took a day
exactly. It was just to scare them. It was just to make a point, and people heard it. They were not gonna stop playing, bro. They were not gonna stop playing. No.
Bro,
do you know how much money they put into the bubble?
They had to take a day and understand the consequences of not continuing.
Yeah, exactly. Which means they were considering not playing.
Okay, dude.
Yes, but it was
they were considering.
So they knew they had to do something. They had to do something, which they came to an agreement to. And they did, which they continued to play.
So in what other league can you think? And do you think in the NFL they would have taken a day off, canceled all
exactly
to think things over like this? Do you think
the problem with the NFL too? The NFL isn't that. They're not that. I don't want to say the word organized. I feel like there's a better word for that. But you see what I'm saying? Like they're not.
They don't give a damn, man. You think about the owners
in
the NFL. You think about the representation. Owners have more power than the players. Players
not even that. They're just not all in unison. Because in the NBA, everyone's cool. Coaches, players, owners, like from cross teams, like they all have respect for each other. In the NFL, you got some dudes who are like, man, fuck that owner. Like he's racist, like blah, blah, blah. Like in the NBA, you might have some dudes, but I mean, for the most part, like everyone's cool.
It's not like that. It's not like that though, because it's more like and this is gonna sound messed up, but in the NFL, it's more like a master-slave type of, relationship.
Yeah.
Shut up and play. Otherwise, you're out of a job. You got a lot riding on this. In the NBA, if you're a legend of the game and you didn't play for the Knicks, you can be an ambassador for that team. You got
players coaching on the team. I don't want to practice today. Let me just coach the young guys. All right, go ahead.
Exactly. Your jersey is retired. They do a whole ceremony for it. You know what I mean? Like they make you an ambassador of the game. They have you ingrained into that franchise. The relationship between players, owners, management, it all kind of like, there's a good web going on.
Yeah,
sometimes it's not perfect.
You saw that a little bit last year when how they treated Tom Brady, and even kind of how they treated Peyton Manning and every other person who was like,
they're pushing him out, man. They were Tom Brady, the man responsible for the whole Patriots culture, for all of your rings, literally all of your rings, all of your success. Tom Brady, all right? And you guys were lucky to get him too. Lucky because your boy got hurt, okay? The Jets took a L, even though they won the game, they took a L for years to come. And you treat him like that. You treat Tom Brady like that, where it's like, hey,
that's why you can't do that in the NFL, like because there's no longevity of players in the NFL. Like everyone probably max, even if you're decent, probably 4 years.
It's just the way NFL's set up. Like the way there's just too many players on the team, like on the field. You have to watch. If you're not on offense, it's not really, you know, that much action
Here's
to
the
you.
crazy part
You
about
can't
the
even see your face.
Here's the crazy part about
You have a
the
helmet on your head.
dude.
You can't see your
But
face.
the thing
Like,
is,
there's no.
with the NFL in comparison to basketball, NFL, it's more. There's more weight on athleticism than there is on skill. Okay, in the NBA, if you've got skill, like if you got skill, you can play for a long time. You can pivot your game.
The thing
Yeah.
the thing I would say to your point, Cost, is more so like the NBA is better at branding star players.
Well, no. It's not even that. You could
No.
It
Toss,
is.
what Toss is saying, basically, Toss, what you're saying is obviously football's just more physical. You can be the most athletic dude in basketball. Over time, that physicality is going to.
You guys are seeing
This is
it.
what I'm saying.
You're right, Toss. Like, yeah, it is a little bit more like physical like that. But what I'm saying is because most players aren't stars the way that they are in the NBA, you don't have any power.
No.
Like if
Let me give you an example. Hey, can you guys remember somebody named Sean Alexander? Do you remember that guy?
Yeah.
He was on a cover. How many years did he play?
Back.
He was a running back, right?
9 or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he retired. Hella, yeah.
When did the next running
He
back
retired
come
hella
in?
early.
When did the next running back come in? He retired early. There you go. He retired early. His replacement was already there. Okay? You can become replaced easily if your physicality, if your athleticism, if your numbers are starting to deplete. They're immediately going to be looking for you. You're replaceable.
But that's because it's a very physical game, though. If you're going out every week, like slamming into people, running, like.
No, Latas is right. Like
you can't play for 20 seasons, bro.
If Odell Beckham just stopped playing football right now, in about 2 years, we barely remember who he was.
Nah, someone like Odell, he'd probably be on TV, bro.
You'll remember the catch. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot of good plays in football, though. There's the Joe Montana throw and all this other shit. Like, but what I'm saying is, like, the football players are really forgettable. But, like, the NBA players, like, we can name some random players you'll still remember. Cuttino Mobley. You probably just know who I'm talking about already. Rip Hamilton, you know who I'm talking about.
I don't know.
I say like Sean Merriman.
You could have.
You
could have 3. Nah, but you could have 3 dudes like us talking right now, but they watch more football than us. Because basketball is my main sport. But you could have someone who's a football, like, that's their main thing. Like, they'll probably know dudes. So it's not really about, like, them. But on the main stage, it is, to a point, still true. But for longevity of that person's name, like legend, yeah, NBA stars do have
what
that.
What team did Warren Sapp play for, CJ?
Didn't he play for the Raiders?
No, bro. Played for the Bucks, the team that beat the Raiders.
Oh, I got him mixed up.
Exactly.
I was
saying, dude, like, the guys are
so,
like, you just forget.
Yeah,
because you don't see their faces. You don't see they have a helmet on the whole
Well,
feel bad for those.
At the end of the day, there's a lot of variables that goes against that weighs against the NFL having the same power as the NBA.
It does.
You can't even market these players as much because they got helmets on their faces. That just a helmet alone sort of like gets the idea across, the ideology of like you're replaceable. You're just another player. You're just coming in and you're fitting your role. You know, fit into the system or get out. We'll find another replacement. We're gonna be okay. We'll find another running back. We'll find another quarterback. It doesn't matter who you are. You be Peyton Manning.
That is the thing.
So
I think we're hitting it right now. Based on what Toss is saying and what I'm saying, are hitting it. Because in the NBA, it's hard to find a guy who can put up 30 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists like LeBron James, night in, night out. It's really hard to find a guy who can do that. But in the NFL, most running backs can give you about 100 yards a game, maybe 4 receptions, 2 touchdowns.
It's not even – it's just a system. It's just a system game. Like, it's not even about if you can do it.
But I'm saying
it's about this is how we play.
Replicate it, it's not super valuable. But in the NBA, you can't really replicate the Luka Doncic numbers like that. Only a couple of people can really do that.
Because I've been watching.
No, I was just gonna say, man. Think about the cultures within a franchise in the NBA and a franchise in the NFL. When you think about the Lakers, man, Kobe, they still paid this man his money at the age of what, 35, 34, with a two-year, $140 million deal, which a lot of people were saying was ill-advised. You know what I mean? Like, you paying him too much. He's getting older, whatever. It's Kobe. It's the Lakers. It's Kobe. It's anonymous. You pay the man. They paid the man out of respect. That's not gonna happen in the NFL. They're not gonna do that. They do that for Adrian Peterson? No. They do that for Tom Brady? No.
Man, once they heard I'm not even going to go there.
Can you imagine going to a Laker game?
I like Adrian Peterson. I'm not going to go.
Star. He's like that's the thing. That's probably the thing about the NBA versus the NFL. The NFL, you're going to go see the team, but the NBA, you're going to go see one player. Like, I'm not going to a lone Laker game just to go see the Lakers. I want to see LeBron. I don't give a fuck about the Lakers. I want to see that nigga who's gonna like really do it for us.
Exactly.
You ain't no.
But the NFL, like, you're gonna go see the Packers or you're gonna go see the Patriots, but you don't really necessarily go there to go see Tom Brady. You go there to see the team, the Cowboys.
I'm just going to see Tom Brady, dog.
Hey, look,
see Tom Brady.
New York Giants fans were miserable last season. They still went out to watch their team. New York Knicks fans also miserable, but they don't go to the games to watch the Knicks. They go to the games to watch the players that show up to play the Knicks. When Kobe shows up at the Garden, people go to watch Kobe play. People go to the Garden to watch the big-name marquee players play. They don't necessarily go for the Knicks, okay? Knicks have been good forever. I'm going to keep ragging on the Knicks. I'm going to continue to keep ragging on the Knicks. People need to understand that that's also the only organization that's the closest thing to an NFL franchise as well, because of the owner that they got. And it shows you, if you run a team that way with that type of culture, you'll see what it's gonna result to.
All right, we're gonna kind of start to wrap this one up. Do you guys have any MVPs of the week you guys want to shout out before we wrap up?
I got my played yourself though.
Sure, go ahead.
Brian Urlacher. You guys hear about him?
Oh yeah, I wanted to get into that too. Couple dumbasses speaking out of their ass. Someone else, the creative director of Adidas, said some shit too.
Well, okay.
About the kid.
Hold on. Let Toss go in on the Brian Urlacher one, then we can hit the Adidas one.
Yeah. So with Brian Urlacher, man, I think Drew Brees probably loves him right now because he just one-upped him for dumbass of the year, ignorant dumbass of the year. He spoke on the whole James Blake situation, said some stuff that was so bad that the Chicago Bears distanced themselves from him. They're like, he's been a Bear for life. We're not on him on this, man. Loyalty? What loyalty, man? I don't know this dude. Basically, the dude said his statement, he posted something on Instagram saying that, so the cops the cops shooting somebody who was a convicted felon, reaching for a knife, basically like demonizing James Blake, using some type of felony warrant from the past when he was like 17.
No, but he said that he said Brett Favre played when his dad died. But right now, a dude convicted felon got shot in the back while reaching for a knife, and we boycott a whole day of games, like trying to compare the two. I'm like, what the?
I wonder how Brett Favre is feeling like, man, don't bring me.
Just get out of pocket sometimes, bro. You just get out of pocket sometimes.
Hey, I got one word for this one. CTE.
Man, till the
Get out
truth.
of pocket sometimes, bro.
Oh, man.
I just imagine.
But here's another thing with Brian.
Like,
There's another one because I read the story too, and apparently, so there's another story. Maybe we'll get this one on the Patreon, but there's another story of this other kid. I forgot his name, Tyler or something.
oh,
Yeah, Kyle. That's what I'm talking. That's a dude. See,
Yeah.
the one that the creative director of Adidas. You're talking about what's his name? Kyle Benthouse or
Rittenhouse.
Bentinghouse?
Well, let me
Yeah.
Something like that.
The
Something
whitest
Kyle
name.
Hufflepuff. Kyle Hufflepuff Wizard House. Something, I don't know. Anyway,
Mayonnaise, whatever. Yeah.
dude, so the Adidas director, he was like, I guess it was a post on Instagram. He goes on Instagram and comments, he's like, I'm not saying, basically he was saying, I'm not trying to say the kid is not, in the wrong, but we can't blame him. We have to blame the parents. Like, they're the ones who raised him, blah, blah, blah. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? Like, a dude drove a state away just to go shoot people? And you're trying to say, oh, we have to talk about the parents, like we can't really we can't put it on. Basically trying to say, don't convict this guy of the 5-6 felonies. Like, don't put it on him. We need to talk to the parents. Like, dude, this is a dude who drove. He had enough time to think about what the hell he was doing on the drive over there. But you're going to talk about this. So Adidas basically said today news is that he's going to be resigning in the next couple days. So I think Monday he's scheduled to resign or something. They're like, we don't know why, but we know why. So
yeah,
people just get out of pocket sometimes.
The dude's 17 years old, man. I like it, like you're so quick to humanize a white kid that does some shit like this. But ask yourself, if that was somebody of color, man, I mean,
bro,
what would they be saying?
The dude walked past the cops. He walked past the cops, said, "What's up?" They gave him some water. Come on, bro. Come on, man. But you're gonna shoot a dude in the back set. Man, let's say this for the Patreon. That shit gets me mad.
Do you see how strapped this dude looks like he's out of like Call of Duty? He got the gloves, he got the silencer on his gun and shit.
Hey, check this out too. Check this out, man. You know what he was, what he wanted to be? What he was aiming to be for his career? You want to take a wild guess? A cop. He was in some junior police, what's it called? Some program.
Why the cops knew him. But that's crazy. Like, he came a state away, walked up, said what's up. Like, I don't understand, bro. But you have a dude walking to his car, and you following him, two of y'all following him like something's about to happen, unarmed. But a dude's walking right past you. Come on, like you can't make this shit up. And you want to say, well, it's not about race. It's not about nigga. Then what is it? What is it then?
The cops were coming from a distance too. They were looking straight ahead. You saw the video, right? You saw the video. The dude literally shot and killed people right in front of the cops coming straight ahead to that distance.
And check this out. Dude left, went home, had a good night's sleep, woke up, ate breakfast, and then later the day got arrested. He didn't get arrested the same night. He got arrested the next day. Come on.
And now he's not even arrested. He's under investigation, right? He's under
he's under investigation, but Jacob Blake was handcuffed to the bed, paralyzed from the waist down. Dude can't even walk, but he's still paralyzed. Come on, bro.
Here's the thing, though.
Hey, let's go to Patreon, bro.
No.
This is what I wanted to say.
One last thing that I will say about this too. Okay, one last thing. It's very quick for us to turn this into a black and white issue. Okay,
right.
It's very quick for us to do that. But at the end of the day, the way that the police are trained is there's systematic racism in there because they're trained to look at people coming from impoverished communities, looking, somebody that has darker skin, they're trained to associate that with danger. Okay, they're trained to associate somebody that looks like this dude as somebody that you follow protocol with. Okay, it's not necessarily a black and white thing. There's truth in there that racism is in there. It's people versus the government, people versus the power that be. But the media wants to do something where it's like they're trying to pin us against each other, not keep us unified. They're trying to have us combat against one another.
Yeah, you're right. The media just wants smoke. They don't care. They just want the smoke.
Yeah,
Smoke
that's the
sell.
job, man. They need something to report. They need controversy, but people lose sight of context. When you lose sight of context, then it's just bickering back and forth with one another, and nothing's solved.
That's the main thing. That's the main thing. Because in the headlines, when it put the Jacob Blake thing, it put, oh, convicted felon, blah blah blah. When they put the white kid, all it said was, oh, TikTok. They show all his TikTok videos of him shooting as if he's like a normal kid. Like, oh, he's on TikTok shooting. Like, exactly, humanizing him. But you dehumanize the black guy.
Mm-hmm.
But you humanize the kid who just went on and killed 2 people.
Yeah, what about the dude that shot up the church of the black people? What about that?
We gotta go.
He went to Burger King. They took his ass to Burger King, bro.
I was gonna say this one for the Patreon, but I mean, you guys are all making good points, but you guys are just preaching to the choir right now. This is something that's been happening. Just
yeah.
As far as I can remember,
hey,
unfortunate, but
more preaching, bro.
But this stuff, some of this, I think what we're saying is, it's just getting so obvious and so blatant now. That
it's been obvious and blatant. It's just
like they're not even trying anymore. Like they're not even really trying to be like, oh, the fancy words and stuff. Like, no, it's like just out there. There's no cover up or anything. It's just
there's definitely a cover up. But the thing is this: we can always look at it as blatant, but we continue to just focus on the color aspect of it. We're not focusing on the fact that most of these police officers that do this are egotistical, prideful. They know they can get away with it because of their qualified immunity. They understand that there's a internal investigation that goes on, so they feel like they got the power to shoot a person of color in the back 7 times. We don't talk about that. We don't.
You're right. And I think to kind of make your point a little bit more relatable, you forget that these police officers are just employees. Like, these guys are not like entrepreneurs and stuff.
They work for us.
No, well, fair enough. But what I'm saying is, like, they have a boss, right? It's almost like if you work at Amazon, you work in a factory. If the factory says, "Yo, you guys got to be here at 8:00," or else you're fired from now on, most employees will comply to that new rule. So if the system is set up in a way where they have to act a certain way, they will most likely act that way. If the system is forcing them to do so.
The system is messed up.
Yeah,
exactly. The system that has qualified immunity, the system that has internal investigations, the system that has, training that continues to involve a 6-month academy for qualification.
Could you imagine
that tells people these types of people are
like working at Amazon?
Dangerous.
Huh? Could you imagine if we were like working at Amazon and then like you can write in your own rate that you hit that day? Like, it was just honor system. And like so Amazon, when you work in there, they monitor you to see how fast you're working. If you're not working fast enough, they'll cut you if you're not being efficient. But imagine if you could just write it in honor system wise, just tell them, oh yeah, here's what I worked. And then like that was the system. Imagine that was the system. Do you really think dudes would be super honest about it?
You go back.
Have y'all seen the movie? Have y'all seen the movie The Invention of Lying?
No.
The Invention of what?
The Invention of Lying. Check that movie out. It has that British comedian dude who's always hosting the award shows, whatever his name is, from the original Office.
Ricky Gervais.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's basically what you were saying. He's basically the first person to discover lying. But yeah, if you just do an honor system, everyone's following it until the one person's just like, you know what? I could just lie. Like I could just say I worked this many hours and they'll believe me. So
that's what the police are doing, though. It's like the system is so flexible and all this stuff. It's like hey, did you mean to do this? Like, no, I would never. I just got a little too nervous. I got emotional.
Exactly.
I feared for my life. I
I
had to
feel
make
for my life.
split decision. And if I can go back and I would correct it, but that never happened to me. It's like, but you were tried with this 4 other times. Yeah, I mean, it's always been kind of dicey. I never really he was unarmed. Yeah, but like he moved kind of quickly, and I saw his eyes. You weren't there at the moment. You guys were there. You guys backed me up, right? Yeah, we were there. Like, yeah, everything he said, that's how we felt too. So we all.
Hey, fuck it. We might as well all be able to just carry a gun around. Shit. If we feel like we need to shoot somebody, hey,
what did Dave
why
Chappelle
not?
say?
That's your right,
Dave
though.
Chappelle say in his last special.
Right.
All black people need to get a gun, and
Yeah.
then you'll start to see the gun laws change.
Yes, that's your right. That's your right, though. See, you just indicated another thing, and we'll go to the Patreon right after this. This is the most important thing of all, in my opinion. Sometimes the difference between life and death in situations like this is knowing your rights. Most people don't even know their rights. Most people don't even know that police, they don't have the legal authority to just ID you, to use their intimidation to incriminate you. If you know your rights and you know what they can and cannot do, watch how they change up. Watch how their demeanor switches up. When their qualified immunity is on the line and you indicate that to them, hey, look, you could arrest me unlawfully, but I know my rights. I'm not going to resist. I don't have a gun on me. You can arrest me, but I will file a complaint. I will definitely eat that lawsuit money. You'll lose your qualified immunity. It's all good. We could do that if you want to take that route and let your ego take over. But people don't know their rights. They don't teach us that at school. They teach us trigonometry, but they don't teach us how to do our taxes. They don't teach us about our actual rights. In American history class, no. We were learning about John Fremont and the Mountain Men.
I don't even remember what I was learning.
Exactly. Who gives a shit? Always record the police. Always know your right. It sounds ridiculous, but watch. Point a camera at a police officer when they pull you over and watch how their demeanor changes.
Yeah, change it real quick. Honestly, I think it may be the safe thing may be for everybody just to get, like, you have a car, you should have a camera, like one of those dash cams or whatever.
Definitely.
For a situation like that, when you get pulled over or something, like, you don't have to take up your cell phone and trigger the police. You talk to like normal, and then the cameras go and they'll pick up everything, and then and that way you don't have to do what Toss is saying, because if you do what Toss is saying, you can trigger them, and then at that point you have no idea what they're gonna do. But if you never really trigger them or anything, they may start acting in ways or doing certain things without even knowing that they're on camera, and now you got it all on tape. You can use that as evidence to say, hey, here's what actually happened.
Well, here's the thing. De-escalation is always the primary goal. But the thing that's going to tick cops off all the time is somebody that knows their rights. But here's the thing. They can get ticked off. Legally, they can't do anything. They can be mad about it.
Clearly, they're doing something.
I mean, the thing is just know your surrounding. Know the situation. You know who if like me and Toss, we're in the same field. We know how to read people. We know how to read the situation. If this is a dude we know we can, play that game with. Some people you may not want to risk. You may want to just, okay, what's up? All right, my bad. Cool. Bye. And there's some people you might want to, but just don't, like what Toss is saying is right, but some people are not going to get away with that. Some people are going to act like, oh, okay, but they don't know what they're doing. They don't got
at the end of the day, it can be an intimidating idea to think like, oh man, if I record the police and they end up shooting me or whatever, like it's an intimidating idea sometimes. But at the end of the day, like their goal is to intimidate you to exercise your rights. And if you don't use them, you lose them. Right now, they have power in those situations because you guys are even hesitant. Like, I can tell, man, Justice, you hesitant to even think about recording the police sometimes because you don't want to get shot. It's tough to even think about something like that because there's people getting shot all the time. But that's your legal right. You could do it. There's cops that are gonna get mad, but they can't do nothing about it.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about, but CJ's gave the best response, case by case. Like, you need to be smart. You know what I mean? Like, we're not just trying to like exercise all our rights just because we have them. You have to know, okay, obviously this last guy who just got shot, he had rights. Got shot, got killed on camera. Kids in the like, you gotta like really read the room, understand the situation, understand who you're dealing with, and know when to make the right moves. And that's kind of what we're saying. It's not that I'm scared to do that in general. I just need to understand the context and see, okay, what's the right move to make in this context? I'm outnumbered. It's a dark situation. There's no one else around. I'm going to try to check my flashlight and take it, and they can just break my phone. I'm like, no, let me just, it's case by case. Case by case.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you want to bring that phone out, huh? Oh, you want to bring that phone out, huh?
Yeah. Are we in the South, or are we in like
look, listen,
are we San Francisco? Like, where are we?
No. Hear me out. I guarantee you, James Blake, when you watch that footage, he's walking away from the cops and he was shot unjustifiably. But I guarantee you, he didn't know his rights. He knew that the cops can't arrest him for breaking up a fight. And he knew that he was in the right to go to his car.
Yeah.
And the cops are going to get egotistical. He didn't know he was going to get shot 7 times.
Yeah, see, and that's what I was saying to Brandon earlier. And even my mom was like, oh, why was he walking away? Like, he should have known, like, he should. I told my mom, I was like, to be honest, I would have done the same shit. I would have been walking away, like, yo, back up off me. I haven't done shit. Like, I would have walked away. And if I got shot, hey, like, that's God saying it's my time. That's my time. Like,
well,
that's how I would have acted too. I would have just walked away, like, I haven't done nothing wrong. Back up, excuse me, park the wave, I'm going. If they shoot me, hey.
Well, that's not the right idea to give off either. Because at the end of the day,
yeah, I know, but that's coming from just that. When I see cops, I'm just like, man,
yeah,
you know, like,
and that's
where that's coming from, though.
This is the thing too, and that's emotion. That's emotions taking you over, and when emotions take over, it makes you impulsive.
And at the end,
there's the human element of being a cop, because you're supposed to be a cop a certain way, but there's cops that are prideful and egotistical, and they let their emotions take over when somebody doesn't follow their authority, and they do something off of impulse, like shoot somebody 7 times. So when you got 2 people that are being impulsive, that's when stuff like this tends to happen. When you continue to be the rational one to the point where the opposing party at some point in time realizes that they're being an idiot, this guy's being calm, the video footage catches that they're being calm, they know their rights, then they understand, or at least they should understand, that what they're doing is looking like a moron. Statistically speaking, in my experience and experiences that I've noticed, I do sales on a daily basis. I deal with people all the time. I grew up in a family of manipulators. You get what I'm saying? That's the tendency of what happens. So obviously, yeah, everything is a case-by-case basis. But
right,
universally,
we're gonna
stay rational, man. You stay rational, you'll be all right. If you're not, then, you know.
We're going to cut it there.
Roll the dice.
Episode 5. Another good one in the books.
Free Bobby Shmurda.
If you guys haven't joined already, get on the Patreon, man. Obviously, you want to go a little bit harder. You want to go a little bit more raw, but, you know, there's some constraints on YouTube that, you know, we have to kind of abide by. So it's good. If you want to while out, you know, hop over to the Patreon. We'll see you guys there. And
Join my OnlyFans.
What's up?
Nothing.